What's up, guys? It is Carly here, bringing you your Tuesday review on body bags, and this week is a theme week, and it is a franchise theme, so you could pick any movie from any horror franchise, as long as it hasn't been done, of course, and I decided to go with a movie from a franchise that I'm not overly into. It's not one of my favorites, and it's not one that I really rewatch a lot, and it is one of the bigger ones, so that is kind of why I picked this movie, because I've only seen it once before, so I figured this would be a chance to kind of go ahead and rewatch it and see if I like it any more now or any less or whatever. But that is A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5, The Dream Child. So this movie is centered around the character of Alice, who is from Part 4, if you are familiar with the franchise. So there is some continuity with the characters with that. She is now with Dan, and they are boyfriend-girlfriend, and everything's kind of going fine, there's no signs of Freddy or anything like that, and their life is back to normal. Then one day, Alice is in the shower, and she has a dream about Freddy Krueger's mother, and then it is found out that she is pregnant, and Freddy is trying to use this baby to take her down. He's getting inside the baby's dreams as opposed to her, so she can be awake and still be having these dreams that aren't really hers, but she kind of gets sucked into this dream world even though she's not necessarily sleeping. So that is the main premise here, I suppose, and I will say right off the bat, it's hard for me to really watch this and compare it to the other films in the franchise, especially with this being Part 5, because I don't remember Part 4 at all. I mean, I remember the general idea, and I remember the Alice character and all that enough, but I don't really remember much about the kills or what goes on in that movie completely, so it's all kind of a blur, and it's really hard for me to look at this movie and compare it to other ones, and I feel like when it comes to movies and franchises, that's kind of one thing that you typically do, so that's really hard for me. But I will say, I actually found this movie to be really fun. I was really surprised by it. I thought I was going to maybe not like it and dread it and think it was too cheesy, because I know these later sequels get really cheesy, but I actually had a pretty fun time with this movie. It doesn't drag on or anything like that. It's just another nightmare movie, and I think the character of Freddy is definitely at the height of his jokester ways. Some of his lines and things like that come off as very cheesy, and they're supposed to. He's just become kind of a joke by this movie, and I do think that's kind of unfortunate, because I feel like he is a very creepy character, and I think the idea behind someone killing you in your sleep is terrifying, so I do kind of not really like that they made him such a joke by the end of the franchise. But with that being said, I feel like the dream sequences in this movie are actually fairly dark. If you don't really count him, I think just the kills and the general atmosphere of the dreams really work in this film. I think they're, like I said, pretty dark, just literally dark. Some of just the tones and things throughout are very gloomy looking, so I think they did a good job with that, especially with the one character, Greta, in this movie. She's one of the friends. I think her death is really disgusting. The effects, it has to do with her eating, and it just really grosses me out. I feel like the effects are a little bit cheesy and dated and can be seen as kind of comical, but to me it's pretty gross out, so I did like that about it. I could see why some people might think it's a little cheesy, but it actually worked for me, because anything to do with like food and choking and stuff like that just kind of grosses me out, so I did like that. The characters in general in this film, I have to say, I actually enjoyed. One of my main problems with the original Nightmare on Elm Street is I don't really love the main characters. Don't hate on me, but I don't really like Nancy all that much. I just don't like her. It's not the look of her, it's just the way she overacts and things like that. So I never really cared for that, and I just think the characters in this movie, while they have some, typical cheesy teen dialogue, I still find them to be just a little bit more entertaining to watch than I do with the ones in the first movie. So there is that. I also really like the plot of this one. I like the concept of a child having dreams and being just this unborn baby, and you never know when you're going to get sucked into a dream because it is not you who's actually having the dream. I think that was a cool concept and a refreshing idea. Once again, it might come off as a little cheesy, and the scenes where you actually see the baby are a little dumb because the baby's like a 6-year-old boy, so it doesn't really make sense. But either way, I think the plot is at least a little bit original for the series to kind of spice it up a bit, so I do like that. My main negatives are just that Freddy's a little bit too jokey, and I've always felt like these later sequels all kind of run together, and that was sort of my problem when I first watched the series, is that I can't really tell them apart. Like I said, the plot in this one is a little bit original, but I don't know, I feel like I would rate this one and all the other sequels kind of the same type of rating, if you will, and for this one in particular, though, I did give it a 7.5 out of 10, so, yeah, I don't think it's that bad. I could see why some people don't really care for it, but I was actually surprised on rewatch, and it made me want to go back and watch the other ones to see how they kind of match up with this one. So 7.5 out of 10 for A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5. Thank you guys for joining me for this Tuesday review, and as always, I will see you next week.